The elegant design of furniture from America's colonial days gave true meaning to the expression sitting pretty. With Martha Teichner, meet a modern-day restorer of old-time craftsmanship.
Colonial Williamsburg is all about dressing up for the 18th century, getting period details just right. This is what comes to mind. Probably not this, but it should.
Now, this is pretty elegant.
This is an awesome piece.
Is this one of your favorites?
Everything you see probably gonna be one of my favorites. Two pieces together, right?
Meet Leroy Graves, the remarkable man who for more than 3 decades has kept Colonial Williamsburg's renowned collection of 18th century furniture splendidly and correctly attired, and along the way has revolutionized how museums preserve and protect upholstered antiques.
Can you look at a piece of furniture and say, this is a fake?
Yeah.
Fake as in making it look old and valuable when it really isn't.
Right there for the hair cloth.
I can't see a thing.
Ken.
No.
To be an upholstery conservator, Graves also has to be a detective. An ongoing exhibition of his work is actually called Upholstery CSI.
Sadly, they use all these longer nails.
What's the crime? Grievous bodily harm perpetrated on fragile historical pieces by nails and tacks.
So every time somebody new upholsters it, it gets more intrusive and more damaging.
Correct. I said, well, why don't we come up with a system that we have used nails at all?
What's come to be known as the Graves method is now being used worldwide.
So we started using a combination of stuff, copper and plexi and plywood.
So trial and error to figure out the materials that work?
Right.
So that's plastic?
He uses anything and everything that works to create a kind of rigid exoskeleton for each chair or sofa.
The system doesn't have any upholstery on it at all.
It's copper, and then you see where it's all riveted into place.
That's what he upholsters. That's where the nails and tacks go. It's removable, but to look at it, you'd never know. Even the White House has called him in to do his magic. Leroy Graves has won prestigious awards. Colonial Williamsburg has published an illustrated survey of his work.
So this is tobacco?
This is tobacco.
But you've only heard half of his story.
And my first job was out there at 6½, of pulling these little leaves off the...
Yes, at 6½, he went to work in the fields, year-round. School wasn't an option. His relatives were sharecroppers in rural Southern Virginia.
I lived here with my granddad on my dad's side.
And how many people lived in this house?
Let me count. It was my grandmother.
Now it's somebody's hunting cabin.
My 2 aunts.
Not home to 9 people.
Did it have indoor plumbing? Did it have electricity? No. Did it have a kitchen?
Well, we did have electricity, but no running water.
At the age of 10, Graves went to Williamsburg to live with his mother, who worked multiple jobs to send money to the family. He was enrolled in 5th grade.
Did you have enough of a background to be in 5th grade?
No, I only had probably didn't even have a 1st grade education.
He struggled and eventually just dropped out.
And so that's when I came back to the country and lived here.
And that was the end of your schooling?
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to overcome extreme poverty and a practically non-existent education to become an internationally known upholstery conservator is every bit as extraordinary as his achievements in his field, and makes them even more impressive.
I wanted to carry a briefcase and wear a tie and a suit and do all of that, but I knew that was so far away from where I was, that was just a dream.
Leroy Graves went to work in maintenance at Colonial Williamsburg, supposedly filling in for 2 weeks, 51 years ago. He never left. He moved up to art handling and then insinuated his way into furniture conservation. He can create a perfect replica of any of these pieces.
Everything is stitched to this roll.
He did this.
And this is horsehair.
He spent his lunch hours watching big-deal upholstery conservators flown in from New York and taught himself to do what they did better.
As I say, we wonder how
It has not escaped Leroy Graves that 18th century American furniture was often made by slaves, whose names are unknown now.
whatever I make and whatever I do, I sign it, I date it. I just want an individual to look at my work and see quality, and quality that's coming from an African American. That's what makes me feel proud.